Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm really tired. It's late. I'm not doing the camera thing today. I made a video this morning. You want to see my mug, check that one out. But this video is a bit of a follow-up to that because I have been responding to tweets like the one you see here all the livelong day today. People, for the most part, I will say, for the most part, respectfully disagreeing with me about the whole, Invincible mode in, what is it, Psychonauts. Some people have been very salty, but actually most have been pretty respectful in their disagreement, and I've been respectful in my disagreement. But something that a particular theme that I keep seeing come up in these responses is this idea that having something that's more or less a cheat code, right? Invincibility mode, God mode, whatever you want to call it, having a cheat code available for use at the outset of a game, right? A toggle option, right? Is the same or is fundamentally similar to easy mode in video games. And with all due respect to Mr. Gallant, right, and others who have expressed similar opinions, they're wrong. And I'm going to explain why. Now, and in these responses, I think I have found the fundamental difference between myself and those who disagree with me. And I think it's proven best by Mr. Gallant's Twitter bio here, right? You see that he lists himself as a nerd, father, and casual gamer. And I think that's the fundamental difference, right? I am not a casual gamer. Anybody who's watched my videos for any long amount of time knows that I am the furthest thing from a casual. I am very much an old school gamer. I'm not quite sure if I call myself hardcore, right? But I'm certainly an old school gamer, and I make no bones about that, right? And I have literally grown up with video games. As I've stated several times, I started gaming at the age of 4 years old, right? Modern gaming started in what, 1984? Well, it started earlier, to be fair, right? The Atari and things like that. But when you think about like when it really took off, right? It started becoming this thing we know today. I think it's fair to say it started in 1984, 1985 with the release of the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it's just, you know, grown at this incredibly rapid pace from there. So I'm about as old as gaming itself is, right? At least modern gaming is. I've literally grown up with this, and perhaps that is the difference, right? A casual versus someone who has literally grown up doing this her entire life, right? As I've stated in other videos, I used to read GamePro magazine and Game Informer and all this different stuff. And interestingly enough, when it comes to things like cheat codes and whatnot, I had a Game Genie. I still have the Game Genie. I used to have these huge books that would have, various cheat codes for various systems and video games, right? So it's not that cheats are new, right? Cheats are not new. Cheats have been a part of gaming since gaming's inception. But here's the difference between, say, someone like Mr. Gallant and myself. I do not believe that something that fundamentally alters how you play the game, right? Something that is more or less a game breaker under any other circumstance should be easily, readily available for use, right, from the outset of a game. For example, if you're playing Metal Gear Solid, right, in my opinion, you should not have, unlimited ammo and stealth and access to all the weapons. You shouldn't be able to go to the options menu, for example, and just not even like put in like a secret code or anything, but like, just just scroll through the options and go, all weapons, yes, unlimited ammo, yes, stealth, yes. You shouldn't be able to do that because those are cheats. Those are conditions that fundamentally change how you play the game, how you experience the game, right? The point of any Metal Gear Solid game, right, is to start off with, for example, no weapons, very little armor, very little rations, right? You're not given a lot of provisions because you have to acquire the weapons and the various items, right, on site, right? So if you have something like stealth mode and all the weapons available and all that, out the outset of the game, right? The very first time you play the game and you go to the options and you turn all these options on, right? That's not that's frankly not how the game is played, right? Which is why stuff like that has typically been hidden away and locked behind cheats and codes, or there was something that you had to earn, right? There's no issue with, say, doing that, when you've beaten the game and you've earned that right, I guess you could say, to now more or less break the game, right, and remove any and all challenge from it, right? To basically do like a free run. For example, if you ever played Metal Gear Solid anything, but especially I'm gonna go with the actual Metal Gear Solid game, right? You know how different playing the game is than uh, compared to how you play it normally, and how you play it when you use stealth or when you use the unlimited ammo, which you can unlock by beating the game. One is a challenge, right? Because you have to adjust to all these various conditions in the game, right? Having to procure weapons, having to avoid guards, having to defeat boss battles, having to avoid traps, and all this other stuff. Whereas, say if you have the stealth, right, you don't have to avoid almost anything, right? Because the guards can't see you, and they're one of the main challenges of the game is getting around the guards without sounding an alarm. So you're gonna play a good 80% of the game without doing that if you have the stealth camo on, right? That's what I mean when I say that cheats are these fundamentally game-breaking things that change the gameplay experience because they remove a fundamental element, a fundamental challenge from the game, right? And that is why I am so against the idea of them being available readily for use, right? Now, Mr. Gallant, as you can see here, says difficulty settings have existed in games for a long time. The existence of easy mode has shown no sign of eliminating hard mode. As for what gaming is, that's a purely subjective matter. What gaming is to you isn't necessarily what gaming is to others. Well, here's the thing. With all due respect to him, I firmly believe he's wrong on both points, and let me explain why. Difficulty settings and cheats are not the same. A difficulty setting does not empower you beyond just adjusting the difficulty, right? For example, if you up the difficulty of a game, right, usually you're going to take more damage, or you're going to have the ability to carry less items, or there's going to be more enemies, right? It disempowers you, actually, right? But it doesn't change fundamental elements of the game. For example, it doesn't ask you to, for example, if you're playing GTA, right, for example, it doesn't suddenly say that you have to play the game without any weapons, right? It may lessen the amount of ammo you can carry, it may increase how easily you get damaged, but it doesn't take essential elements like armor or health or weapons from you to disempower you and make it a challenge. It doesn't change fundamental elements of the game. And conversely, easy mode makes the game easier, right? Reduces the difficulty level. Maybe you have less enemies. Maybe you don't take as much damage. Maybe you're able to carry, one or two more items, like say a health box or whatever, right? It makes those minor adjustments to make the game easier, but it does not empower you to a ridiculous degree. For example, if you're playing a video game like, say, Zelda, right? One of the Zelda games. Even if you play on easy mode, you're going to have you're going to start with like 3 lives, right? It's not as if you play on easy mode and suddenly you have like the 20 plus hearts or whatever it is Zelda games typically have. I haven't played in a very long time, right? Or let's say Sonic the Hedgehog, right? You're not gonna suddenly have like 10 lives, right? At the outset, just because you play on easy or something, right? It's still it does not fundamentally change. It does not change fundamental elements. I should say, right? You don't get to start with 10 lives, right, and no timer just because you're playing on easy. It lowers difficulty. It does not remove difficulty. It does not remove essential elements that create challenge and adversity in the game, right? It does not, or it does not make you OP, right? It doesn't make you overpowered. That's my fundamental issue with having Invincible mode available from the outset, right? Not as something you unlock or something that's a secret and you find something that's readily available, right? As I said here, right, having cheats available for use from the outset is not the same as adjustable difficulty levels. Easy mode doesn't make you invincible, right? And that's basically my point. In easy mode in a game doesn't make you invincible, right? It makes the game a little more, it makes it a little less challenging, but does not remove the challenge by taking all the enemies away or by making you OP. It would be like if you played a fighting game and you put it on easy and like the all you have to do like the two fighters come up, right, and your fighter has full health but the opponent has like one sliver of health left, right, and it's so small that like even if you try to strike them and they block, they would pass out and lose the fight, right? If that happened, that would fundamentally more or less break the game, right? If you played easy on a fighting game and the easy mode did that, because the point of a fighting game is still to compete, right? Two players start with even health and you go at it. Now the AI, right, is made a little dumber so that the game can be a little bit easier and you can progress without losing so much. Although even then, ever played a fighting game, you will know that as the game goes on, the enemies get a bit more difficult and a little bit smarter. But it does not alter the fundamental element of a fighting game, which is that you have two people with full health, right, with all available moves and weapons or whatever it is, and they go at it. In easy mode, right, does not say you are invincible, right, and you cannot be injured in a fighting game, right? Easy mode doesn't say that. Invincibility mode, though, if that existed in a fighting game, that would be what it's like, right? Invincibility mode in a fighting game would probably look like you can't get injured, you can't be thrown out of the ring, and your punch, whether it's blocked or not, automatically wins the game, right? That's the difference between easy mode and invincible mode. Easy mode does not mess with the fundamental gameplay elements of a game, right? It might make it a little bit easier. The computer doesn't play as well or doesn't present as much challenge, but does not remove the challenge via changing a fundamental element of the game. Invincibility mode breaks the game, gives you abilities that are not typically available in the game, right? If you play it normally, right? It's like having Superman, punch a drunkard in the street, right? It's totally unfair. One still has an element of fairness, and one does not. And that is why I am against more or less cheat codes, right? Invincible mode, God mode, available in a game at the outset. You want to be unfair in a game, fine, but At least earn it. At least earn that right to be unfair. You want to do all this, you want to run around and not be seen or not get hurt after you've earned that, after you've beat the game normally, more or less, and that is your reward. Go ahead. I used to play with the stealth camo all the time in Metal Gear, but I had to earn that stealth camo. It was not available to me at outset. I had to earn the unlimited ammo. It was not available to me at outset. Right? You still had to work for it. And whatever people say, I am not in favor of this idea of not having to earn something that basically is so powerful it it breaks the game, right? It fundamentally changes how you play and how you experience it. You want that? Okay. You should earn that, in my opinion. And if you look at the structure of video games, because Mr. Gallant says, well, what gaming is a subjective matter. How many video games do you know of that don't have any challenge? Right? The most common challenge in a video game is, enemies that oppose you or get in your way or whatever. But nearly every video game that's ever been made has a series of levels, has items that you can pick up, to help you get past the game, right? Whether it's a gun or whether it's a mushroom, a fire flower, whatever it is. There will be items in a video game that will give you the skills or the powers or whatnot you need to advance to the next level, right? There are enemies and with enemies various other challenges you have to contend with. There are boss battles. There are levels. There are cheats and hidden items and things of that nature, secret passages, things like that. So actually, gaming, right, isn't purely a subjective thing. These are the fundamentals to nearly every video game ever made, whether we're talking about Super Mario Brothers or whether we are talking about Mass Effect. These are the common elements to a video game. And invincibility mode cheat codes fundamentally change how you deal with and encounter those elements. So no, Mr. Gallant, it is not a purely subjective matter. No, look at the structure of video games throughout history. Those are your core base elements. Boss fights, levels, puzzles, time attack modes, races. As in, like, race challenges, right? Car race challenges or something similar, right? That's the video game. That's what video games have always been made up of. Video games are challenge simulators. Always have been, always will be. And with all due respect to Mr. Gallant, him confusing easy mode with invincibility mode does not change that. Anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day and night wherever you are. Bye.